Hi guys, welcome back. So let's talk about selection for England versus Ireland. Straight in with England. Now here's my team. I think I start Marler at loose head. Genge is probably key to England's attack actually, but facing up against Furlong, I think you need the better scrummager of Marler to get you a steady start, because I don't think you want to be conceding scrum penalties. Not saying Genge will, but Marler is the better scrummager. I think that's the safest option. Bring the explosiveness of Genge off the bench. A bit unlucky for him, but I think it's the way to go. Obviously, Luke Cameron-Dickey out with a knee injury, which is a real shame for him. But Jamie George, very good replacement. He'll be relishing this, and a really good chance for Blamire on the bench to get some much-needed experience. Actually really good for his development towards the World Cup. Now, Sinclair, I probably would have dropped him actually if there was a better alternative, but I don't think there is. Big chance for him. He's got to step up and really go for it. I want him to have that positive attitude. Just sometimes his body language is a little bit low energy. Just want to get himself hyped up without obviously losing it. But anyway, he's there starting still with Stewart on the bench. Second row, we look like we've got a few more options now, which is great. Itoje is playing well. I know some people are annoyed by some of his antics, and I understand that, but a lot of what he does is good. And then we've got the choice here. Maybe Johnny Hill is back, so if he is back, I would pick Johnny Hill. If not, I think Launchbury starts. On the bench, I don't think we need a second row because we've got Laws who can cover, who I'm still having at 6. Curry looks like he's going to recover from his HIA, which is great news because England need him at 7. Then Dombrandt, who is growing into the role of number 8, stays there at number 8. And I just want a little bit more of aggression from him in the carry. He's doing lots of good skillful things, popping up in the right positions, but now he just needs to be a little bit nastier. 9 and 10, keep them the same. Randall Smith, let the partnership develop. Now, you know my opinion on this. I'd have Quirk on the bench all day long. That power impact 9. But I'm sure Eddie Jones will have Young somewhere there. But that's how I'll do it. And I am picking players who aren't even in the squad. I know that. Kelly is there at 12. England need him. They need to develop him. He's not going to be perfect straight away, but he can take the ball to the line hard and he's got a great passing game. I know he's only 20, but there's other young guys in here as well. Slade playing well at 13. It's a bit more of a balanced midfield. And in the back 3, Stewart doing great at fullback, keep him there. But then on one wing, a specialist power winger, and on the other wing, a specialist speed winger. Again, they're not that experienced. Give them some game time, let them make a few mistakes. In the long run, I really think it's the right way to go. And against Ireland, who are so good, you need weapons. Give Marcus Smith the weapons to actually penetrate the defence of Ireland rather than just do a good job or look pretty doing it. On the bench there, I mentioned most of them. One thing I would have, though, is Barbary and Simmons. Now, I know there's a few comments saying, well, Barbary, there's too many new guys in the team, but I'd say, what have we got to lose, for one thing? And also, if you want Barbary in the World Cup, let's get him in there. Some of you guys saying that maybe Eddie Jones is using this as a bit of a throwaway Six Nations, so I don't know if that's true or not, but it's worth trying. Players like Barbary who have real impact and could be game changers. Another thing on the bench you may have seen is I don't have Ford, because I think Malins is a perfectly able 10 replacement. He's a really good 10, he's played lots of 10, and you'd be keeping Smith on for as long as possible anyway. So Malins covers winger, fullback and 10, then Marchant can cover centres and the wing if needed. So I think there's loads of cover there. That's the way I'd go. I think it would give us a chance against Ireland, at the very least, get players developed towards the World Cup. Now on to Ireland, they do have a big blow. Porter is out. That's a real shame. He's on form because he can scrummage and he's an amazing round the park. Really explosive, quick as well. I think Healy comes in, so you don't lose much in the scrummaging stakes, but not as quick round the pitch. Sheehan, that huge chance to take over from Kelleher, because obviously Kelleher's out, and really cement himself in there. They could play safe and put Herring in there, a bit more experience, but I think Sheehan's the talent, so put him in there. Then we've got Furlong, their best tight head by miles, so that's easy. Probably their first choice second row pairing at the moment of Byrne and Ryan seem to have edged the likes of Henderson out, and we've got Baird coming off the rails, so I'd actually have Baird on the bench, just that bit more impact. Henderson unlucky, but great options in the second row. Then we've got the back row, which I think is really well balanced, of Doris, van der Fleer and Conan. I'd be surprised if that wasn't actually their World Cup back row, but anything can change. Then we've got Gibson Park, a guy who's absolutely key to the way Ireland play. He knows the system inside out. He's to the rucks quick, he gets the ball away. No hesitation, that's what we like to see. Carberry's had some good games, but I think Sexton fully fit, comes back in, he's the captain anyway. So that makes sense. Carberry there, a good number 2. They're getting that good backup now to Sexton, which is something they had missed. In the centres, tough call between Aki and Henshaw. I know many of you would go for Henshaw because you think he is the class, and he probably is the slightly classier player, but I don't think Aki's done anything wrong, and he gives the power option that England don't have or may not have. So I think that's a good way of marking a difference. And then Ringrose at 13, Henshaw can cover the centres and even the back 3 if needed. The wings. Now, goodness me, you could do the wings in many different ways. Ireland are really lucky to have so many good options, but I think Lowe's there as the try-scoring threat. Tough not to pick Hansen. You've got the likes of Lama kicking around, and Conway as a great all-rounder on the other wing. Also a good try threat. Could go loads of different ways there. Keenan, I think, keeps his spot at fullback. Lowry certainly is exciting, but I don't think there's space for him in the 23. Then the bench, as you see, Peter Amani still going strong at 32, still looks high energy. Casey to add a bit of pure speed coming off the bench. Carberry and Henshaw. It's a very strong Irish team. Certainly a little bit unfortunate that Porter's out, will give England maybe a little bit of hope, but you think on paper Ireland have the better team, but England at home, I don't know, I called it towards Ireland, but the more I think about it, the closer it seems. Now on to the Welsh team, up against France. Many of you guys calling it to France, as I think it will go, but I think Wales are going to be really up for this. One change I'd make in the front row is Lake. Just that extra power and carrying against the massive French defence. They need as many power weapons as they can. Plus Elias, his line-out didn't go so well last game. I'm sure it's not all his fault, but still, I think that's definitely worth making, especially developing towards the World Cup. Second rows, Rowlands and Beard seem nailed down as the first choice pairing, working very hard, with Seb Davis coming off the bench. Alan Wynne-Jones charging back into the frame, but I don't think he'll be there in time, and even if he is, I don't think they should rush him. They just want to get him right for the World Cup. Now in the back row, you can see I am changing Basham out. He's not really done anything wrong, but I think now is a good time to have a rotate, look at Morgan, an excellent threat over the ball, think it's worth doing, or I'll be happy to keep Basham there. I've got Basham on the bench. Big hitting Moriarty at 6. Then we've got the classy Faletau at 8, with a game under his belt, should be even better. Now Thomas Williams and Dan Biggar are really establishing themselves as the firm first choice half-back pairing. Good understanding there, Williams on good form. The centres, they're going to have a tough time against their French counterparts for sure. Tompkins and Watkin, and these can have a massive game, especially in defence. But Watkins looked very good there in defence actually. Adams on the wing again, looking good. Cuthbert looks excellent. Best game I've seen him actually last time out. So who'd have thought that a few years ago? And Liam Williams, consistently classy, still looking the absolute nailed on 15. Then the bench there, as you see, Hardy obviously came on and scored a good try against England. Anscombe, and the one change I'd make actually is have Lewis Rees-Zammit back on the bench. You just need X Factor. I know he doesn't give you all the options. You'd have to have Adams or maybe even Biggar covering the centres, which I understand is a bit of a risk, but I think you need as many weapons as you can against France, so I would have the speed of him on the bench. Now for France, I'm suggesting they don't change a thing. Front row is absolutely fearsome, a bit of everything. That battle there, Antonio against Wynne-Jones, is going to be huge. Give Antonio a rest though after 50 minutes because he does have a pretty heavy frame to drag around, but Mai and Marchand are absolutely fantastic. Woki and Willemse are brilliant. The Rock Willemse. Woki could be a thorn in the side of that Welsh line out, giving them a bit of problems. Back row's doing really well. Just remember, you've also got Olivon to come back into that back row at some point at a later date. And Aldreet, who probably is the number 8 of the tournament at the moment. Brilliant carries, but he's also got good footwork. He creates. He's like a back as well. So clever. We know Dupont is on fire. and you might as well give him man of the match now, to be honest. Intermax rolling along nicely. The centre pairing is absolutely spot on with Dante, that perfect launch play guy, and Fiku, the genius at everything, attack, defence, top of his game at the moment. Now, in the back three even, Pinot on one wing, world-class winger. Moafana, actually, who moved from the centres to the wing last game, is very strong and powerful. Does chuck the ball around quite a lot in the offload. Looks a bit loose at times, but very dangerous. Shame we didn't see Villiers, because obviously he's injured. And Jaminet, who made a load of errors actually last time, but has got lots of class in him, just needs to keep that error count low. Then the bench, that 6-2 split, really powerful. Tawafifanua, absolute giant off the bench. Loads of back row options. With the only two backs, Luku is okay. He's not quite the Dupont, I don't think, but who is? And Ramos is that versatile back that allows that 6-2 split. So let me know what you think of those teams, what you would do differently, and how you see the game going. Now for Italy versus Scotland, I do think they need to ring some changes, use the Italy game, which they should win, although I think Italy will do pretty well, but not too many changes to really destabilise them. For example, I put Turner in, just rotate those two again, McAnally and Turner, I think that's worth doing. Schumann and Fagerson as the props. I'd slot Hodgson in, a specialist second row, youngster, needs the time, put him in there. Now for pure excitement, we've got to see Darj and Watson together. Let's see how it goes. This is the perfect game. Not the biggest pairing, but my God, how quick and energetic are they. An absolute nightmare for the opposition. Can't wait to see that. Keep Bradbury at 8. I think, he needs a big game to impose himself. Again, this is a good one to do that. I would rotate Russell out, not so much as a punishment for last week's performance, but just that Kinghorn needs that game time. Sometimes he looks a little rushed when he comes on. Just let him settle in and play a nice steady game. Now I know at 12 this won't happen, but I'm such a Hutchinson fan. Put him in at 12. He's so creative and dangerous. I'd love to see it. Alongside Harris, who needs to get back into a bit of top form, to be honest. So give him some time there. And I'd keep the back three as it is. It's so dangerous. It's too good not to change for me. And I've made a few changes already. Then the bench, as you see, we've got Bayliss there, a promising back row. I think Hainin hasn't looked so good, so I would drop him out, give Bayliss a shot. And Tuipulotu covers the centre and wings very nicely on the bench. Russell there if needed, and White as well. So let me know what you think of that Scottish team and how you think they're going to go. And let me know what you think of all the teams I've selected and put your selections below. I'll catch you next time.